What did you do to get into UCL University?
I guess some of the students would know what a personal statement is, and so this actually forms part of the university application beyond your grades. It's not about kind of how long or where you did your work. It's more about what you actually learned coming out of that experience and how that fortified your passion.
Usually the Vietnamese parents over here, they think that they need to focus on studying, not try to find a job. They need to encourage their kid to try to find internship during their time to study at the university, right?
I received a return offer where I was able to return to that company to work for full time. It depends on the industry. That heavily influences whether you spend 10% at work or 90% at work.
Bạn không thiếu thông tin về du học, bạn đang bị quá tải rất nhiều thông tin sai. Những gì bạn nghĩ mình hiểu về du học và xây dựng một sự nghiệp thành công ở nước ngoài đang chỉ là bề nổi. Ở trong kênh này, bạn sẽ nghe câu chuyện của những số học sinh trải qua những hành trình thật, đại diện các trường đại học và những người đã xây dựng được sự nghiệp thành công ở nước ngoài. Đây không chỉ là lý thuyết mà là những trải nghiệm thực tế. Và nếu bạn thực sự muốn hiểu chuyện gì đang xảy ra, hãy follow kênh. Và khi bạn chọn đăng ký, nó giúp chúng tôi tạo ra những video giá trị hơn. Okay, thank you so much, Anna, to join me today to share about your experience to live in the UK and also study and also finding a job in the UK. So can you introduce a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. My name is Anna Tran. I'm currently a market access consultant, and I've been working for around 2-3 years now. And previously, I completed a integrated master's at UCL before starting work.
Before you starting work, you study at UCL, right? What is your major at the UCL?
So at UCL, I studied applied medical sciences and I came out with an integrated master's. So what that means is I completed 4 years of undergraduate studies, but I came out with a master's degree instead of a traditional bachelor's degree.
How many years do you study at UCL to get the master?
Yes, so 4 years. Traditionally, my other course mates who completed the bachelor's, it would have just been the traditional 3 years. But since I chose the integrated master's route, I was able to complete 4 years and earned a master's out.
So I understand that UCL is really difficult university to get in. So what did you do to get in the UCL university?
So I think when it comes to any university application, in the UK at least, we have a system where it gauges your predicted grades based on your performance and your studies throughout A levels. So what happens is you would study throughout year 12, and that's when your teachers would be able to set you predicted grades based on your studies for that past year. And then you would use those grades to then put into your application towards whatever university that you'd like to go to. And depending on the university, they'd have different requirements for the minimum grades that you need. And so with UCL, depends on the course, of course, it would obviously require you to earn those grades. I think as part of your university application as well, aside from your grades, your academic grades, I'd say, extracurricular is also very important. So I guess some of the students would know what a personal statement is. And so this actually forms part of the university application beyond your grades, where you'd be able to introduce yourself, tell your story, and essentially show you why you're interested in the course and why you'd be a best fit for the university. And so in the UK, students are usually encouraged to not only focus on their academic studies, but also look into extracurriculars in their free time, just to either boost their skills or just earn different types of experiences that kind of tailors to the course and just ensures to show the examiner and the university that they are truly passionate about the course. So I'd say all in all, there's 2 aspects. Firstly, you need to meet the minimum academic grades that's required. And then secondly, you need to demonstrate a true interest beyond your academic education.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the extracurricular? Because a lot of Vietnamese
student, they I think they misunderstand. They do the like extra activity. So can you tell me more detail about that?
Yeah, so some of the extracurriculars that I did, for example, was that my school really supported me with searching for work experience in various labs throughout my time studying A-levels, for example. So during the summer, I was able to take out a week just so I could visit a hospital lab in London. And I think in terms of that experience, it's not about kind of how long or where you did your work. It's more about what you actually learned coming out of that experience and how that fortified your passion for your course. So for example, with my course, it was medical science. So anything related to the human body, anything related to science would be essentially like brownie points essentially for your application, to say that I've shown that I've gone the extra mile to kind of go after these experiences and to demonstrate just a true interest. I mean, currently my younger sister, she's in year 12 and she's doing sort of a similar thing. So she's also quite interested in medical sciences as well, and she's looking to do bioinformatics. So it's kind of the computer science side of medical science. And so her summer just started, but she's already signing up to work experience at Imperial, work experience at UCL. And so her summer is pretty much packed with extracurricular activities, especially tailored to the course that she wants to pursue.
So what A level did you do to be able to go to UCL? How many A level did you do?
So I personally did 4 A levels, which is, I guess, above of what you would need. So most universities, I think all universities only require 3 A levels anyway, depending on the course, of course. So at A level, I did maths, biology, chemistry, and physics. So that would kind of typically be the STEM combination that I was just personally interested in. But I would say if I were to go back, I would just do 3 because, like I said, I think it's a lot more important to not overstretch yourself with your academics, but also ensure you have time to build on experiences outside of your studies as well. I think that's something I would have changed. But yeah, so in terms of those kind of combination is what I had before going into university.
So apart from working experience in the hospital, and did you do any other super curricular to support your university application?
So here and there. So I remember in secondary school, I used to volunteer, for example, for first aiding. So I was kind of just a volunteer cadet trainee at St. John's Ambulance, for example. So I think here and there, there's just kind of opportunities for you to reach out to. I think I'm not sure how easy it is in Vietnam compared to it is here. But I think if you have a support system, for example, at school. So for example, at my sixth form, we had a kind of head of careers department. And so that department essentially was dedicated to supporting us in any way towards our career in the future, whether that's going out to find these experiences online or whether they have just connections, right, with the school network. And so this is something that we were really encouraged to do, and we were quite motivated to find that out as well. So aside from work experience in hospital labs, I guess attending summer schools as well at different universities. It doesn't have to be the one university that you go to. Like I said, it's just to demonstrate that you're truly passionate about the course that you'd like to apply to.
So can you share to the audience the experience at the UCL?
So at UCL, it was quite a strange experience for me because I think I was one of the first cohorts to go to university where COVID happened. So halfway through my first year at university, we experienced the lockdown. So I think before then, that was sort of kind of my only memory of a normal university experience. So in terms of my course, so the type of course varies between university to university. So at UCL, it's mainly lecture based. So at university, they would essentially structure your course out into different modules. And so usually for the first year, that's when they want everyone to be on the same page. So they have foundational modules just to make sure that essentially to close any gaps in learning from A levels. And so we had compulsory modules, but we also had one optional module. So with this optional module, I think it's usually quite good room for students to have the freedom to kind of explore their interests and their kind of niche a bit more in their course. So for example, with me, I think during my first year, I wanted to look deeper into infection, for example, within medical sciences. So that was my optional module. And so that was kind of the basis of my first year. So obviously with COVID happening, we just kind of we went essentially converted to online learning, but it was pretty much structured the same way, where it was very much lecture based. I know other universities, they might have more of a problem based approach. So instead of students turning up to the lecture and then the lecturer is just telling the students what they need to know, problem-based learning is an approach where the students are presented with a situation, a scenario, or a question, for example, and then it's up to the students to figure out what questions to ask in order to solve the problem. So at UCL, as I said, it was primarily lecture-based, but there were some modules where we were encouraged to have that proactive sense when it comes to learning, which was, I think, quite useful in the sense that I think it just helped a lot with engagement. So I think a lot of students, sometimes even for myself, it's quite hard to kind of stick with that repetitive structure of being fed the information. So sometimes it's actually better to learn how to solve the problem yourself, because I think these skills is what you ultimately apply when it comes to the world of work or just anything beyond university. So I think that was pretty useful to have for some of the modules that we had. So I would encourage students to not only look at the university that they're going to, but also look closely into the course and how the modules are structured. So usually this information is quite abundant online anyway. So they can just go into any kind of prospectus for their course and the information is pretty much there. So yeah, I would encourage any kind of new students to find out more about their course, as well as just looking at the institution broadly.
So during the time at the UCL, do you have time for yourself?
I think so. So I think for me, it was quite difficult during the first year because I was already kind of programmed to study quite a lot during A levels. And so I tried to use my first year as an opportunity to unlearn that and to ensure that I have enough time to for example, research opportunities to look for in internships, just enjoy my time kind of developing myself outside of academics. So I'd say at UCL, it's definitely a rigorous institution and the courses are quite intense in the sense that if I were to go back and I had a part-time job, for example, where let's say 2-3 days a week dedicated to my part-time job, I would say it would have been difficult for me to also balance that with my studies. So that's just kind of a rough idea of how I guess rigorous the course was. But I know for other universities such as Oxford and Cambridge, for example, I've heard that students aren't even allowed to have part-time jobs because it's almost kind of guaranteed that they would jeopardize their studies just by dividing up their time too thinly. And so I think it just depends on which kind of institution you go to in that sense. But yeah, at the end of the day, it does boil down to how kind of self-motivated you are and how self-disciplined you are with your time. I think it would be different from person to person. I can't say that my situation would be the same as everyone else. But at UCL, I would say there's quite, I guess, a few occasions where people would also have part-time jobs from my experience. But that's not to say it's impossible. So I think at the end of the day, it depends on the person.
So did you do the internship during the time you study at UCL?
Yes. So in terms of finding internships, it was quite difficult during COVID. So traditionally, students would try to start finding summer kind of work experience or internship opportunities after the first year. So that's kind of like the earliest point in which obviously you'd find some work experience beyond university. And I think most students would actually try to use their time in their first year to apply for an internship in the second year of summer. Because what tends to happen here is that if, for example, if you do well in your internship, whether that's a few weeks worth of time, 1 month or 2 months, you end up getting, you can potentially end up getting what's called a return offer, which means that you're offered the role at the company for a kind of a full-time or temporary position after university, depending on what conditions they want, whether that is graduating first class, second class, and so on. So that's kind of the traditional route that most students would go for, just for that kind of sense of stability and reassurance in their third year that they will have a job lined up after university, instead of worrying about finding a job during their final year at university. So that's kind of the usual route. So what I did was I ended up getting an internship at a life sciences consulting firm for 2 months after my third year at university, which is my second to last year of my master's. And so after those 2 months, I received a return offer where I was able to return to that company to work for full time after my master's. And so that's kind of the traditional way that it would work. Obviously, it's not like you need to find an internship or kind of summer work experience, but it does make your life, easier after university, because like I said, it's not just the academics that are important when it comes to applying for jobs. It's actually experience as well. So trying to balance the two and ensuring to not prioritize any would kind of be the sweet spot.
Because usually the Vietnamese parents over here, they think that they send their students to overseas to study, so their kids need to focus on study, not try to find a job. So I think that they need to encourage their kid to try to find internship during their time to study at the university, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think, not from my experience, but I do have other friends who are kind of international students, and I do feel for them, because I think the bar is a lot higher when it comes to applying for jobs for international students, because I know with things like the working visa here in the UK, there's kind of there's like another source of pressure when it comes to ensuring that they find work within a certain timeline after they graduate university, and then having to make sure that their role pays a certain salary as well, like a certain minimum. So I'm not entirely close to that, because I personally haven't gone through that myself, but just from word of mouth and just hearing from the people around, it is a kind of different sort of thing that they have to worry about, that I guess us local graduate students wouldn't have to.
Do you think the studying, being the UCL student, do you think is give you the advantages to be able to find an internship job?
So I think only to a certain extent. So why I say that is because with target universities such as UCL, Imperial, and sort of any other universities of that caliber, we essentially get the advantage that during some of the career fairs, which is essentially days where external companies would come to the university, and they would essentially introduce their institutions, and it's essentially a networking opportunity for students. So from that aspect, I would say that there's a slight advantage in that we would get, I guess, slightly more exposure to those sort of companies when it comes to those career fairs. However, when it comes to actually applying for jobs, from my experience, it's, for example, at the place that I work at, it's not just students from UCL. There's also those from Leeds, from Bristol, from Liverpool. And so I think where you go in terms of which university you studied at doesn't guarantee an advantage when it comes to the job application itself. However, the experiences before that might lead to getting the job itself, I think you might get a slight advantage. But either way, like I said, at the end of the day, they want to know whether you can do a good job, and the way that you can prove is from your previous experience.
So what do you think the most important that makes the employer after the internship time to give you an offer for you?
I think one of the things that could help you get a return offer is essentially just to ensure that the people that you work with are confident and have enough trust in you to already imagine you as a full-time employee there, as someone who's going to work with them regularly. So from my experience, what that would look like is ensuring that you are easy to work with. So that could mean ensuring that your communication skills are very good, and also just making sure that you're holding yourself up and your work to the best quality possible. But I definitely think it's definitely communication, and also just being proactive and showing that you're willing to learn. Obviously, when it comes to having an internship, is that you'll be one of kind of the least experienced people in the workplace. So I think obviously your experience is not going to hold up to the other people in the company, but what you can offer is being proactive and showing that you're willing to learn. And the advantage of being a new starter is that you're a blank slate, which means you're very easily moldable. So if you just demonstrate that to the people around you at work, just to say that you're easy to coach, you're easy to be able to adapt to different situations, I think that would be important to ensure that people find it easy to work with you, essentially.
So what do you think is different during the time you do the internship with now, when you are the full-time working person?
In terms of difference, do you mean just day to day, or kind of what?
Like pressure, how many hours do you work, and of course salary. I think salary is right.
In terms of hours of work, so usually here in the UK, even if you're an intern or a full-time employee, just depending on your contract, of course, it tends to just be the same across the company. As an intern, I think you'll essentially be stepping into something new, and so you have to be ensure that you communicate to other people how you can best support different projects or different tasks on their team. I think now, as a full-time kind of in a full-time position, obviously you'll become more comfortable with the tasks that you do every day, and so I think that the difference is now that you kind of do the work yourself, and then whenever you do have questions, that's when you go to the more senior members of the team to clarify questions instead of being told what to do. So I think that's the main difference of being an intern versus kind of a person in a full-time position, for example. But like I said, it goes back to not only doing the job well in what you're being told to do, but also showing your proactiveness to say, look, this is my approach of doing this task. What do you think? And it shows that you're being proactive about your work instead of just being told what to do, because it just makes everyone's life easier in the workplace. In terms of salary, I can't exactly disclose that, but I think it would vary from company to company, because obviously with an internship it is a short-term contract, and so it would be based on a monthly pay, whereas in a full-time position it would be on an annual basis where it's salary based. And so I don't know, it's a bit difficult because obviously accounting for income tax and things like that in the UK as well, I'm not exactly sure how different it is between an intern and a full-time position.
Do you enjoy your work at the moment, and do you under a lot of pressure, or do you just enjoy working at the company at the moment?
Yeah, no, I really enjoy it. So the reason why I was interested in consulting in the first place was that I initially did lab work during university as part of my final year dissertation and a third year dissertation as well. And I just personally found lab work very lonely, if that makes sense. So even though you're in a research team, day to day you're essentially just doing the work by yourself. You're just waiting for different machines to finish before again writing up the results and then analyzing your data yourself. So it's very I think it taught me a lot about self-discipline, but at the same time on a day-to-day basis is very lonely. And so I wanted something a bit more dynamic in the sense that I'm able to apply my knowledge, solve problems, but also work with other people regularly and quite closely as well on a daily basis. And so when I found out about consulting, that was sort of what I enjoyed the most, because I was able to obviously have my own time to do my research, to essentially write up the analysis, but also working on different parts of the project with other people on my team as well, which I found very stimulating, very engaging and rewarding. I think in terms of how consulting can be quite, I guess, intense, is that you're never on one project by itself. So usually how it works is that you're just depending on what the company needs. So for example, I'm on average resourced around 3 projects at once. So that could be for the same client or for different clients. And most of the time it's different medicinal products, different medical devices, and different therapy areas and diseases as well. So I think you have to be kind of on top of your work in the sense that you need to be flexible to essentially jump in between these different projects and these different contextual information to ensure that you're kind of performing well across all of these projects and not just kind of tunneling yourself to one. In terms of your question on how kind of difficult it can be, I think sometimes, because consulting is a client-facing role, which means that you also have to take into account what the client wants, and also be able to kind of deliver these projects on time and at a high quality as well. Sometimes it could be difficult because I guess during university, right, you would be just responsible for your own work. So in that sense, you can control everything around it. But when it comes to working in a team, you need to ensure that everyone knows what's going on, but also ensure that they deliver their part on time as well for the client. Because with these projects, there are quite strict timelines in place that you can't really move. So because you need to ensure that it's professional and the client gets what they want when they want it. And so, yeah, I think that might be the difficult side of teamwork in consulting, is that you need to ensure that everything fits nicely in a puzzle, essentially.
Being an Asian Vietnamese person working in the UK environment, do you find it difficult to adapt?
I personally don't find it difficult to adapt. But I don't know whether that's because I have essentially just grown up here, and so it's just easy for me to acclimatize to the work environment. However, in my workplace, there are also other team members that are of the international background, where they have studied here abroad and they're essentially not here as a local sort of British background. But even then, it's quite seamless. So I think what's great here in the UK is that most companies actually really value diversity, and they really value new experiences and cultures, because it invites different ways of thinking, for example. So if you were to kind of bring loads of people together, but they all have the same experiences, they've all have the same upbringing, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to come up with new ideas. And so that's why here in the UK we have a special kind of initiative to ensure that the teams are diverse, because it's actually really important to invite new ideas to the team, whether that's just day-to-day working or for the projects that you're on as well. So it's actually not too much of a hindrance, but it's actually an opportunity for you to demonstrate how unique and how different you are coming from a different background.
So do you think that with the international student who just go to the UK to study university and then try to go out to find a job, do you think it's difficult for them to adapt to the UK environment?
Again, I think this will kind of, I guess, vary from person to person. Obviously, if you kind of, I think this applies for anyone as well, not just international students, right? When you join a new place of work, I think it's important for you to show that you're open and you're inviting, welcoming, and so in order to essentially have that energy returned back to you, right? So I don't think being an international student is kind of a red flag to the workplace here. If anything, like I said, is actually a plus, right? But that would also depend on you to also show that you're willing to connect with other people in the workplace, and just ensure that you're just someone that's kind of as easy to get on with as possible. So yeah, I think that answer doesn't only apply to international students, but just anyone who is joining a new place of work.
So do you think that with the student who, obviously you graduated from UCL, the top university, do you think the students that graduated at the like average university, like not in the top 20 Russell group, do you think they can be able to find a job in the UK?
Yes, definitely. So for example, I know people who went to, I don't want to name the university, for example, but they're not included in the Russell group, and that's because they didn't necessarily do that well, quote unquote, during their A-level. So they weren't able to meet their predicted grades in order to go to those universities, and so they had to go to, I guess, conventionally lower ranked university. And even without an internship, I'd say they were able to still find a job. And even in that place of work, their counterparts were students from Oxford, from UCL Imperial as well. So for them to be able to be in that position, despite their conventionally lower ranked background in terms of academics, they were still able to be in the same environment as those in the top universities, right? So I think it just boils down to how good your application is. It's how well you also perform in your interviews, for example. So whatever assessment process that they have in place for the job positions, it just kind of ensures that it's in your favor as much as possible during the process, because I don't want to say that anyone from lower ranked universities immediately have a less likely opportunity to kind of get the same job as others, because I personally don't think it's true, but yeah, like we said, there's definitely an advantage to being in the Russell Group universities. It's just how you use that advantage.
I heard one of my friends said that in the UK people, like they spend 10% for work, 10% of their energy for work, and then the rest for like enjoy themselves, for the family. Do you think that's true?
I think it's true. I think it depends on the industry that you work in and the job that you're in. I think that heavily influences whether you spend 10% at work or 90% at work. So I know some industries, for example, as you might know, investment banking, I think 10% at work is pretty much impossible, right? If you're in investment banking as a graduate student. However, it goes down to what you prioritize in life. So a lot of people, if they choose to work, go in a really intense industry, but obviously they reap the rewards of higher pay and just kind of more experience, then I guess at that point they're willing to give up time or kind of energy for any other areas of their life. For example, with consulting, I think it varies. It just depends on which company you work at and what kind of culture is encouraged. So at the company I work at is actually they really value flexibility and work-life balance, right? So with me, I'm able to work on a hybrid basis where I just go into the office 2 to 3 times a week, and then other times I can just work from home because it's just easier to fit things around my life that way. So I wouldn't say on average is 10%, but it can be just depending on what you prioritize. So if you want to, I guess, if work is truly your passion and you want to progress a lot, then that percentage will vary between person to person. But I think in the UK at least, we and for consulting, you can find work-life balance if I guess you organize your time well enough.
Do you think that's the like working from home becoming more popular now? And do you think it's like it's benefit people more, or do you think it's that doesn't work very well? Like working from home, have to go to the company. I think that's the new culture, right? New culture of working, right?
Yes. So the new culture of work from home obviously came about after COVID, where it was, I guess, not viable for people to come into work because they didn't want the risk of spreading disease. But I think now that people have had an experience of how that could work well in their favor, I think it actually boosts productivity from my experience, because when you know that you can perform your work equally well at home as you can in the office, especially living in London, where commuting into the office takes, for me, minimum 40 minutes. And I think that's kind of the average time that you kind of have to spend going into the office. And then obviously the additional 40 minutes coming back from the office to home. The time does add up across the 5-day working week. And so for me, when I know that I have the flexibility to work in that sense, it doesn't make me feel like I'm being forced to just commute for no reason, because it is I don't want to commute if I don't have to, essentially. So I think personally, and a lot of the people in my team, we actually find it to be a lot better as well, especially on days where I have meetings all day in my calendar. I can essentially just take that meeting from home, because I'm going to just be carrying the same laptop into the office to take those same meetings, just with an additional 2 hours of my day of time spent on the tube, right? So I think it's definitely helpful for those with families, for example, because things like childcare, picking up their kids, it's definitely a current culture, I think, that we have in the UK with hybrid working, but I don't think it's necessarily trending upwards. So I think, from what I can see, some of the companies are actually mandating people to come back into the office more often, or sometimes even 5 days a week, right? So I think currently it's not going to be something that's going to be growing, but it's now kind of the new normal for most of us to work in a hybrid structure.
So you live in the London at the moment, right? So
Yes.
Can you tell me about the what difference between living in London and other city in the UK?
From my experience, I actually don't think I'm the best person to answer that question, because I actually haven't lived in any other city outside of London.
Okay, so you live in London.
It's just very difficult to imagine, if that makes sense, because I've grown up in London all my life. That's why.
Okay. So when did you go to the UK? What age?
So I was born in the UK. I was born in London.
Okay.
And then I moved to Vietnam when I was 7, because my parents just wanted to move back to Vietnam, where they're able to essentially grow their business. And so I lived in Vietnam until the end of primary school. And then we essentially came back here to London, where I continued secondary school. And I've just been here ever since.
And so where does your parents come from in Vietnam?
So my parents are both from Cần Thơ, which is, yes, very south. That's essentially where they're from, and where I was able to spend around 4 to 5 years of my childhood.
So do you remember anything back then?
Yeah, of course. I still go back quite often. So before COVID, I used to go back every summer. And then now, obviously, with work, it's a bit harder to go back as often as I'd like, but I try to go back every 2 years. I remember a lot from it. I know that definitely during primary school in Vietnam, it was a lot more intense, as it would be compared to here in the UK. As you said, I think a lot of the parents and just a lot of it's just the entire system in Vietnam that places places a lot of importance on their education, and is something that kids are brought up to prioritize. And so, I think with my experience growing up there, that's why I'm here to encourage those students in Vietnam who are going to university to make sure that they have time to experience things outside of their studies, just to fuel their interests even further, and not just solely focus on their academic.
So do you think, because you are like the parent from Vietnam, do you think that they teach you in different way that not the same with the UK parent, so make you focus more on study? Because over here the study culture is insane, I think, now.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's not just the Vietnamese parents here in the UK, but also any parents of any kind of ethnic background here in the UK. Their parents usually place a lot more emphasis on their children's education as something that they need to focus on, because we know that education would take you far. It would just open more doors for you in the future. And so, I've personally grown up for my parents to have that emphasis for me as well. I think with those of the white British background in that ethnic group, I guess it's less of an emphasis. I'm not sure why, but I think that there's also something to learn as well, in the sense that I think a lot of the parents also ensure that their children have a kind of a solid childhood growing up. So I think that actually really helps with character development and soft skills, people skills, just beyond academics. Because I think if you are kind of only narrowed down to focus on education, there's a whole range of other skills that would be important in your personal character, or kind of skills that you would need in a workplace, for example, that is actually really important to build from the beginning, because it's something that you can't actually just learn overnight. So again, I think it's not to complete dismiss and say one approach is completely right and one is completely wrong. It's just that I think as long as you strike a healthy balance, then I think that's the way forward.
So with the student who want to go to the UK to study university, and also after uni they want to settle down in the UK, what's the advice for them? I mean the Vietnamese student.
I personally think, I mean, academics aside, because I think a lot of the Vietnamese students who come here are, I guess, more than capable of kind of doing really well in the academics anyway. So I wouldn't kind of give any advice on that, because I'm sure they most of them do pretty well. I guess is on the side of kind of just culture and integrating themselves, is just not to be afraid of kind of reaching out to people, trying to put themselves out there more, because surprisingly at university everyone's kind of excited to start university. So it's kind of the opportunity for you to take advantage of that and try to kind of just integrate into the culture, get to know everyone, and just have an open mindset every day, just to kind of ensure that they're not limiting themselves because of whether that's because of self-perception or kind of not being confident, for example, because I guess because of culture shock, right? But believe it or not, people are a lot more welcoming and accommodating than they seem. So I think that's the advice, just to put yourself out there more. I think everyone at university is equally excited, and yeah, I think everything will just fall into place. So don't worry too much.
Okay, thank you so much for the time and all the information that you shared with us today. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you.